Good morning, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Tap in. Tap in with a brother. I realized I had some time this morning. I got about maybe 30, maybe 45 minutes, and I got a few flows I want to talk about. So why not go live? Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. I want to talk about Diddy and I want to talk about CPS with a smattering of other topics that you may or may not care about. I'll be honest with you. But these are a few things that are on my dome. How was your weekend? Ah, that's great. That's great. My wife makes the best coffee. Shout out to the wifey. I want to talk about Diddy. At this point, everyone has um, seen Diddy's apology video where he apologized for his physical abuse of his ex girlfriend, an artist by the name of Cassie with a C, Cassie. And that video dropped on Friday, and everyone in the internet has been talking about the video. And I want to give you a few thoughts about it. Straight up, it was some of the weakest ish I've ever seen in a long, long time. I think it's straight up weakness, what I saw with Diddy. If you haven't seen the video, I'm not going to play it for you here. You might be able to find it in some other sources. Um, but I'm just not going to play it here for a lot of different reasons. I'm sure you can find it if you want to see it. But just to describe the video, you see Cassie. It's in a hotel. I'm not sure which hotel. Cassie looks like she's trying to get to the elevator to leave. Diddy runs down the hallway with a towel wrapped around his waist and physically assaults her. At some point, she falls to the ground. This man starts kicking this woman on the ground. I've heard people say stomping her. He wasn't stomping her, he was kicking her. It's a difference. But either way, reprehensible wrong, and Diddy's gonna have to pay for the consequences of his actions. As I understand the story, Diddy, with his infinite wealth, was able to pay off the hotel so that the video didn't come out. And hey, what's up, William? It's got to be on the docket. It's got to be on the docket. Good morning to you. Because I want to make sure I set the record straight from the perspective of somebody who actually is a parent of a CPS student. I hear a lot of people giving opinions, but I wondered to myself, do they have a child at CPS? I have a child at CPS, so it may be a different perspective. Good morning. Or maybe not. But back to Diddy. Whatever happens to Diddy is Diddy's own consequences. Period. You read what you sow in this world. Whatever happens. He's beyond being canceled at this point. It's way worse than that. And people who support Diddy continuing forward are gonna have to reconcile that. Me, I don't support rapists. I don't support abusers. Anybody that's abusing people, like the elderly, children, women, I find that it rubs me the wrong way. I don't have no respect for it. And again, whatever happens, happens to Diddy. He deserves that. I saw the apology video, and it was about a minute long. And I think he's sincere. I think he sincerely feels bad. But the problem with that is that it's too late. Had Diddy come out and made his apology before we saw the video on Friday, it still would have been a difficult pill to swallow, but it would have been a lot easier to digest. He would have came across as being somebody who was a bit more honest. At the point in which he did his 1 minute apology video, it was too late. There was nothing Diddy could have said that would have appeased the masses. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody believes you. Hey, good morning, TNT. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody believes you. Period. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody believes you. And that's just what I'm getting, except for Charleston White. Like some people think that Charleston White is some type of truth teller. He's some kind of internet prophet. I mean, he's entertaining, but he all right. Charleston White, and if you don't know the name of this guy who I'm talking about, then it is what it is. You can go search on the internet if you care that much. You probably do not. TNT writes, Diddy can kick rocks. Is that right? Well, it is what it is. It is what it is at this point. I don't fault anybody for the opinions they have. However you feel is however you feel. That's on Diddy. Period. Now, I don't really have any sympathy for the brother. I will say though that I do wonder what he went through in his life that turned him into that. You know, they say that money and power just amplify who you already are. I don't have either, so I can't really speak to it. But something tells me that it's probably true. If you was a no good rat bastard before you got money, you're probably a no good rat bastard with money. If you were the kind of person that would abuse people when you didn't have money, then you're probably going to abuse people when you have money. We are so caught up with rich people and we put people who have wealth on such a pedestal that we think that just because they have wealth, that maybe they've done nothing wrong. They have no sins. They're the best among us. Please knock it off. Knock it off. In some cases, it means the exact opposite. So I want to make sure you're clear about how I feel about it. Whatever happens to Diddy, he gets. And I'm going to have to figure out how I feel about that. Because y'all know, like, I don't mess with R. Kelly. I'll never play R. Kelly again in my life. I'm done with it. If you start playing R. Kelly, I'm going to walk away. And I love Step in the Name of Love. That, that record is dope. I can't deal with it. I don't want to be complicit in it. And so now I got to look at the same way when it comes to Diddy. I'm going to reconcile this at some point. I may or may not let you know what my thoughts are. Good morning to you. Some people are blaming Cassie online. Can you believe that? I want to say it again. Humans worse than COVID. Humans worse than COVID. Humans are way worse than COVID. All COVID wants to do is multiply. Humans have so many duplicities, hidden agendas. They get caught up in so much dumb stuff. They way worse than COVID. And when I read and hear about these comments, hey, good morning to you, Pam. When I read and hear about these comments where people are criticizing Cassie, like, well, why did she stay? That's what I think to myself. Humans worse than COVID. She stayed because she thought it was going to get better. Maybe that's why. She stayed because maybe she had feelings for this brother. She stayed because maybe she's coming from a background of trauma and negotiating those kind of relationships are hard for her. I don't know, but that doesn't justify what we saw. What Diddy deserves is for somebody to roll up on him and do exactly to Cassie what he did to Cassie. I'm sorry, do exactly to him what he did to Cassie. That's what he deserves. Like, you know, Law of the Jungle type ish. If I'm somewhere and I see somebody roll up on Diddy and open up a can of whoop ass, you know what I'm talking about? I ain't see nothing. That's your business, champ. You know, you was super tough guy when it came to her. Handle your business, tough guy. That's how I look at things. I'm not here to save you. Hey, what's up, Jenny? Good to see you. When Cassie's allegations came out, there was a part of me that believed her off the jump, off the gate. I'm just like that. Hey, good morning, Pat. I'm just like that from the gate. There was a part of me that believed her. When Diddy paid her off so quickly, I instantly believed her story. Like, why are you paying her off? One. And why are you paying her off so quickly? Cassie is now remarried. I've seen some of the photographs on Instagram. New husband, child. They seem to be having a great life together. And now this man has to pick up the pieces and deal with and try to mend all of the harm and damage that was done by Diddy. And you know what? There's a lot of men in situations like that. There's a lot of people in relationships with people who are dealing with trauma, and the person that they're in a relationship with didn't even create the trauma. Holla if you hear me on that. Cassie ain't the only one. There is a lot of people walking around every single day. They seem like everything's okay. They seem quote unquote normal, for lack of a better word. And they are the children of trauma. And they get into relationships with people. You ever heard the term emotional baggage? Well, usually people are talking about that in terms of like a past relationship that didn't go well. But that also means trauma. Trauma. People bring trauma into relationships all the time. And they might not even know that it's having to impact them as much as it is. Pam writes, wonder how he treated Kim Porter. Pam. Exactly. I don't know. It's all kind of crazy conspiracies and weird stuff out there about Diddy right now. Because what happens is it becomes like a piling on effect. I don't know what's true. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not the kind of person that jumps the gun. I'm not the kind of person that hears one side of a story and I just automatically jump on a side. I got to have more evidence. It ain't looking good. Diddy is done, y'all. I don't see how, in the terms of the public sphere, I don't see how he can ever recover from this. He can spend the rest of his life apologizing and it will never, ever satisfy the masses. I don't know if he's dealing with jail time. We'll see. I have no idea. Something tells me that when I looked at the video, I thought the dude must have been on some type of drug. I'm not making any excuses, but let's be real here. He's probably high out of his mind, coked up. Yeah, when people are on drugs, they do different things, and sometimes they can be different people. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about, because either you have been there before or you know somebody that's been there before. Quit acting brand new. We grown folks here. We've all been there. We're grown, but it don't excuse it. Charleston White says that he forgives Diddy. That's what he said in the video he put out on Instagram. He said he forgives Diddy and stop acting like you don't know people that's kicked a woman before. That's what he said. Now, what I would say is some people out there think that Charles White is some type of great truth teller. I've never thought that about the brother. I don't necessarily have a negative viewpoint about him, but I'm not putting him on some kind of pedestal like he's some great truth teller. He just another Negro, another brother out here talking on the internet. That's it. But for all the Charleston White fans, where y'all at now? Your man's out here talking about how he forgives Diddy. For me, I'm not in a position to forgive anybody. I'm a sinner. I'm worried about my own soul. I ain't worried about Diddy or anybody. I'm worried about me getting into heaven and what I got to deal with every day. I'm in no position to criticize or critique or judge anybody. I'm not a judgmental kind of person. Never have been, and hope I never become that kind of person. So I'm not in a position to forgive or not forgive Diddy. He didn't do anything to me and mine. He got to deal with his own soul. He got to deal with Cassie. He got to deal with God. You know what I'm saying? Like God gonna take care of all of this if you believe in those kind of things. Some people don't. That's your right. That is your right. But what do you think? TNT writes, it's repulsive the way he dragged that young girl Cassie. He is a father with daughters. How do you reconcile abusing women when you have daughters? Men with daughters abuse women every single day in this country. Let me flip it. Women with sons abuse men every single day in this country. I mean, let me be real here. Let's be real. Because it's real easy to act like Diddy is something new. We know people, you probably know some people in your life, in your family, in them, that's done some crap like that. It's just how it is. It's a sick society. I've been saying for years, humans worse than COVID. COVID don't drag people down the street like that, per se. You get sick, you might feel like you dragging. COVID just wants to multiply. COVID ain't doing drugs and channeling some inner demons and dealing with some trauma and then projecting on the people. COVID don't do that. COVID just wants to multiply. That's humans that do that. We are the most effed up organisms on the planet Earth. Humans. Humans. So let's not get brand new and act like you don't know somebody that's done some crazy stuff and you still cool with them. Because they family or they friends or what. Come on now, let's be real. Let's be real. People with children abuse people every single day, and they separate it in their heads. You got people that talk that God, 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 Jesus, Jesus, Jesus stuff in church on Sundays, and 6 days through the week they doing all kinds of stuff because humans care about themselves more than anything else. That's just the truth of it. Let's be real. Hey, what's up, Roy? What's up, Roy? Good morning. TNT writes, Charleston White sounds like a wife-beating sympathizer. I don't know if that brother's beat a woman, um, but that's his opinion. I think he's jumping out the window. People say anything these days to get a couple of clicks on Instagram or on social media. So he's saying something outrageous, and that's what he does. He says outrageous stuff. And yo, check it out. People like it. Let's not act like Charleston White don't have a huge audience. People like it. That's why he keeps doing interviews. Let's be real about it. What's up, Angelo? Exactly. Same way. If I see something like that, I don't know nothing about it. I'm gonna keep on walking. You handle it, tough guy. You handle it. The boys roll up on me and ask me something. I ain't see a word. I don't see nothing. I ain't got nothing to say. I'm deaf, dumb, and blind. You handle that, big guy. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I look at the world. If Cassie's family catch up with Diddy and put some retribution on him, hey, what you want me to do about it? I don't have no sympathy for you, tough guy. You handle it. I'm like that though. I'm for real. And I ain't joking. I don't know nothing. Could have seen the whole thing. But that's just how I am typically. I mind my business. You know what I'm saying? I got enough issues to be worrying about somebody else's business. But I sympathize with victims though. Now, if you out here victimizing people, oh, that's completely different. I'm gonna tell the boys on you in a heartbeat. I don't play no games with it. You out here abusing children or the elderly and women, people that are weaker or whatever. Nothing makes my blood boil more than all of that. And I'm not with it. Let me talk about CPS. Some of y'all need to stop. And at the top of the list is the former CPS superintendent, Ironetta Wright. I would like Ironetta Wright to stop doing interviews because every time she does an interview, in my humble opinion, it's a bad look. When she did the Lincoln Ware interview, I listened to and watched the first 10 minutes and I was done. I'd seen enough. Bad look. She most recently had done an interview with Let's Talk Cincy. And as I understand it, this is something that was previously planned before the announcement was made that she was going to resign. And she just, kept her commitment. And when I watched the interview, and I watched more of that interview than I did the Lincoln Ware interview, I thought the same thing. Bad look. Nobody wants to hear a pity party from you. Nobody wants to hear, they just don't like me because I'm strong. And nobody's believing that. Please stop. They just don't like me because I'm tough. Ain't nobody in 2024, not liking the superintendent because she's strong. Stop it. Please stop. I'm just blindsided. I had no idea that then, what's funny is that she was almost telling on herself. Like one of the big critiques was that there was a lack of communication all the way around. She goes out and does an interview talking about how she's blindsided. How are you blindsided if you have good relationships and open lines of communication, sis? It don't make sense. Stop doing the interviews. You about to get paid through the end of 2020, was it 5? She making like what, 240, 260. I wish I was making 260 to stay home. Don't you? I'm talking about $260,000 to stay home. Sign me up. Sign me up right now. 260 to stay home and do nothing? I'll take it. I'll take it. Please stop with these interviews, the pity party. I'm blindsided. Everybody didn't like me. It's almost like you telling on yourself. And I remember saying this in the Lincoln Ware comment in his chat. I'm like, people who know what they looking at can see that this just looks terrible. It looked terrible. It looked terrible. It's over with. Move on. And too many people being caught up with personalities. Cincinnati's public school success does not rest on the shoulders of one person. The second thing is Ironetta Wright was not here long enough, in my humble opinion, to really have enough time to assess what she could or could not have done. She was only here 2 years. That is not enough time. Whether she was a great communicator and she was the right person for the job initially or she was not, 2.5 years is not enough time to assess the job that she could, the impact that she was going to make on CPS. And anybody who says other than that is either, somebody close to her just trying to like create a narrative or just don't know what they're talking about. It doesn't make any sense. Hey, what up, Jared? It just doesn't make any sense. So when I hear people saying like, "Oh, she was changing things, the numbers was going up." What numbers were going up? What numbers were going up? That's my anybody who says that, what numbers? Stop it. Stop it. Stop trying to recreate history just because you like her. If you like her, that's cool. Like who you like. But just because you like somebody and you put out a narrative, that doesn't mean that my brain stops working. I'm not going to turn off my brain because somebody else don't like it. I'm a CPS parent right now. Right now. Last year, the year before that, for some time, I had two kids in CPS on both ends of the spectrum. I had a daughter in high school, a son who was in like kindergarten, first grade. He's in third grade right now. Please stop it. I have seen no difference in terms of Irene Wright being a CPS superintendent or before her. I don't feel no difference whatsoever. And then some of the initiatives that she was trying, and again, I want to say this again. I can only assume that Ironetta Wright was sincerely trying to do her best. I'm not going to assume anything other than that. It doesn't mean that she was necessarily the right person for the job. It don't mean she was the wrong person for the job. But I'm just saying it doesn't mean that she was necessarily the right person for the job. There was a controversy in her being hired from the gate. But when I hear people talking about, the numbers is going up, what numbers are going up? None of them. Now, anybody can look at some numbers and cherry pick and the numbers to make it see what you want to do or to make the numbers seem and to conclude the story that you want to tell. But what numbers were going up? Please stop. Please stop the nonsense because I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. I ain't going for it. No. What numbers? Well, there's working on bullying. Let me get this straight. You got grown people in CPS that were complaining about being bullied. But I'm supposed to believe that bullying is improving across the district. Make that make sense for me. Make that make sense. When you got grown people at Mayerson Academy, that's the headquarters of CPS, complaining about being shoulder checked as they walk down the hallway, complaining about being intimidated, complaining about a culture of fear. Okay? But I'm supposed to believe that bullying is being addressed. Please stop. Stop it. Knock it off. Knock it off. It is completely possible for CPS to do their search now. The board will do a search, it may be national. They'll bring somebody else in here. It is completely possible that this new person will come in and have the skills and have the leadership to move CPS forward. But here's what I really want to say to you about CPS. Eh, we put too much on the board. And by we, I'm talking about parents, community members, concerned citizens, which is like community members. So that if CPS is gonna really change, it's gonna be a change from us. It's gonna be the parents. Like one of my biggest concerns as it relates to Ironetta Wright is the teachers unions. The teachers unions, the six unions are coming together because they just flexed. I think it was the Inquirer. They did an op-ed piece. It might have been Kevin Aldrich. I don't remember, but I read something to the effect of like uh nobody wins with the resignation of the superintendent, and that's just not true. The unions won because it was very clear they wanted her out, so they won. And that's concerning to me that the unions have that much power. It is, and I'm cool with Julie. I'm cool with a lot of these folks, Michelle. But this is how I feel. Period. Um, so I'm concerned about that. But what's even more concerning to me is parents have not united to create a power base. If the parents would unite and create a power base, you could flex too. But everybody wants to push everybody else, and it's everybody else's responsibility. CPS is our responsibility, ours, the parents, the stakeholders. It's our responsibility. If you want to make a change, quit being scary. Everybody's scared in Cincinnati. Scary, y'all. Scared to make a move, scared to put your neck out there. And you know what? For good reason. You got a good reason to be scared. Because when you step up in Cincinnati, depending on who you're dealing with, they're going to chop your head off. And you may and probably will not get any support from the very same people that you're going to help. Let me say that again. In this city, what I've observed is that when you stick your neck out, depending on who you sticking your neck out against, they coming to chop that off. And if and when they do, the very same people that you know who you stick your neck out for may or may not have your back. And nobody can argue against that. You got people that stick their neck out and go to extra mile in Cincinnati every single day. And as soon as they say or do something the slightest little different, mofos turn their back. Mofos turn they back. Because nobody wants to get involved. Everybody's afraid. When it comes to the school, again, I've been there. I done talked with black parents and white parents and seen the fear in their eyes. It is real. And guess what? Unless you built for it, don't even mess with it. Because you're gonna get some pushback. Depending on who you standing up to and depending on how you come with it, oh, you're gonna deal with some resistance in the city. It's certain organizations and certain folks that when you go at them, you better be ready. You better be ready because it's a lonely road. It's a lonely road. And dealing with that school with CPA is a lonely fight. You're gonna get out there and turn around. And it's not gonna be like Jon Snow. You know what I'm saying? The Battle of the Bastards, when Jon was up there with the sword and he was about to just, hey, this is my last stance. And then all of a sudden, the cavalry came in. Oh, it ain't gonna be like that in Cincinnati. It's gonna be you. It's gonna be you all by yourself. And that's the reason why people don't stand up. And I've done it. I've known people that have done it. I've seen it with my own eyes, all by yourself. Because everybody's scary. Oh, I don't want to say this. I better not do this. Oh, Lordy, Lordy. For good reason. They got every reason to feel that way. For good reason. I'm not telling you that you don't have anything to be fearful of. Oh, you do. Oh, you do. Absolutely. Unless you built for that, leave it alone. Leave it alone. And most people in the city are not built for that. And I'm not saying I'm built, super built for it. I mean, I am what I am. You know what I'm saying? I got a certain line and it is what it is. But that's the truth. CPS is our responsibility and we're not stepping up, period. So I don't care who the superintendent is. Until the parents and the community really stand up, it really don't make a difference. It's just people just talking. You just talking. That's it. I'm gonna leave it like that. Agree, disagree, whatever. We can agree, disagree. If you disagree, great. Yeah. Yeah. There are people in the CPS system that need to go. And there are people in the CPS system that need to be supported. And most people don't take the time and get close up to know what is who. which is which. Facts. It's far easier to talk ish on the internet and chat and hide behind the anonymity of social media. It's far easier to do that than it is to really, really get your hands dirty. Because when you challenge the system, boy, oh boy, it comes with a consequence. I want to say it again. This is why I always respect it and will always respect and give the individuals, the boycotters from 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, them people that was out in the streets, because I got a chance to know some of these folks. I got a chance to talk to them and hear their stories. There was consequences to that. They paid the price on the job when it matters. If you ain't willing to lose and sacrifice and consequences, then you ain't really challenging the status quo. You just talking. And I mean that serves a purpose too on some levels. I get it. But that is the truth as of to CPS. So stop this nonsense. Oh, the woman came in. They hate it when a black woman is strong. Don't nobody care about nobody being strong. Everybody's strong. Everybody's strong. She ain't no stronger than nobody else. I know plenty of people that's strong. That's got uh, standards that are willing to speak up for themselves. Come on. You know what I'm saying? At that level of leadership, everybody is strong when you have institutional power. Everybody. Nah, stop it. Sometimes things just aren't a good fit. And, that is the moral of the story. That is the moral of the story. And just because you're in a leadership position doesn't mean that you have all of the necessary skills. And in no way am I trying to take shots with Iron or Wright. I don't know the sister, never got a chance to meet her, but I know what I know. I wish her the best. I think she has the ability to go somewhere and do great things. I hope she does. Stop doing these damn interviews, though, because somebody like me that can read between the lines, it looks terrible. I don't understand, Curtis. I mean, I just don't understand. He blindsided me. That means you don't have a line of communication, sis. That's what you're saying. But for people who don't really know and ain't really been in these kind of circles, they don't know. Most people, when they don't have any information, they fall back on what they already think. And sometimes it's based upon truth. And the truth is that black leaders in Cincinnati do get a tough time across the board on all levels of leadership. We know that. And so when you take that and you have a lack of information, it's easier to fill it with a whole bunch of emotional stuff. I want to give you a little something different. What's up, Nat? What's up, Jack? Absolutely. TNT writes, I think people would just rather live their lives and stand up and fight for anything. TNT, you're absolutely right. And I don't fault those people because from what I've seen and what I've experienced is that when you stand up and you could be 100% right, it don't mean that when you turn around that you're going to have people having your back like Jon Snow. I was a Game of Thrones fan. If you don't like that about me, I don't care. It was one of my favorite series. Maybe you're a Game of Thrones fan, and you remember that episode, the Battle of the Bastards. It's iconic, right? Epic. Maybe you remember that. That's on the movies. That's on television. In real life, you done. You done for. You done for. Roy writes, you get attacked. Correctamundo, Roy. And what I've seen in this city, and it might be this all over the country, but I'm in Cincinnati. This is what I know. But in this city, you can take a stand for a certain group of people. And when you get out there, people in that same group that you're taking a stand for will turn on you in a second. In a second. And you'll be out there all by yourself. And that's why people don't stand up. And that's why it's like I understand both sides of it. On one hand, people like to talk a lot, but not do a lot. But on the other hand, I understand why they're just talking. Because when you do and you get out there and you put your name out there and you put your face out there, you put your life on the line. Literally. You put your livelihood on the line because that's where they go for you at. They go for you at your livelihood. They hit you in the pockets. They hit you in the pockets. And then most people don't have enough money they don't have a lawyer on retainer because that costs money. And they don't have money for a lawyer. Man, listen, let's be real here. There are so many people who have had lawsuits. Stop me when I'm wrong. There are so many people who have had lawsuits. You had a righteous lawsuit. And guess what? You just don't have the money to pay for a lawyer. You just don't. So you gotta eat it. You gotta let it go. Happens every single day in this country, every single day in the city, especially on that job, on the job, on the job. Happens all the time. How many people got 10 grand, 5 grand sitting around for a lawyer? Because when you lose your job, guess what? Now your money's cut off. So even if you had 10 grand, you don't know where the paycheck is coming in again. So your natural tendency is to hold on to it because you got to weather the storm. You got to pay that water bill, which is just mysterious to me. Sewer fees? How the hell are my sewer fees higher than my water consumption? Right? Electricity. I know you like the lights to come on. You like that refrigerator to stay cold, don't you? Like that refrigerator to stay cold. Pork chops, right? You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking grown folk stuff. So that's how I feel about it. I wish her the best. Stop doing interviews, sis. Please. It is a terrible look. Terrible look. But hey, she gonna do what she want to do. I want to give you my thoughts on it. And pretty much that's all I got for you folks. I just had just a few things I want to get off my chest. Oh, yeah, yeah. One last thing. I want you guys to check out Yvette Simpson's podcast. It's called the Power of Why podcast. It's on Spotify. It's also on Apple Podcasts. We just dropped episode 11 this morning. It may or may not be for you. I'll tell you up front, it may not be for you, but it's like a spoonful of wisdom with each and every episode. The episode's about 15 minutes, so very easily digestible. And if you like it, leave a comment, leave some good feedback. If you don't like it, then keep it to yourself. Be honest with you, I don't want to hear it. We don't need that negative energy. But if you do like it, leave a comment. It would be much appreciated. All right. Shout out to Minnesota. I love it. I just got tired of hearing about Jokic, incredible player. But I'm glad to see there's going to be a new champion. Minnesota came back yesterday from a 15 point deficit at halftime. Them young boys is balling. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be a new NBA champion for people who are into that kind of stuff. And um, I hope you like it. Jared Rice, did you see Terrence Howard interview on Joe Rogan? I did not. I did not. I'm not against Joe Rogan. I don't like his politics at all. He's a Trumpster. I can't get with it. And so that's made me pull back a bit, but I still do watch his stuff. You saying it's worth my time? Okay. Pat Rice, any PG thoughts? PG, you talking about as in PG Sittenfield thoughts? Is that what you mean, Pat? I do know that he was released. And that's what happened. PG got a boatload of money for lawyers. He got a boatload of money for that. And so we see how the legal system works. When you look at Trump, when you have the money to get lawyers to just on your case, high quality lawyers on your case, then they can find little problems and little things inside the legal system. I'll say the two things I said before. If you do the crime, you do the time. And that goes for any and all. That goes for family members, friends. You do the crime, you do the time. Secondly, I hate to see anybody go be incarcerated. I hate to see it. The three members of city council, including PG, with three members of city council. I hate to see all of it. And I just hate to see that, man. I really do. So if he's able to use his lawyers to finagle the system in his favor, hey, it is what it is. We should all be so lucky. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a boatload of money. If that was me, my ass would be locked up still. Let's just be honest with you. But it is what it is. Jenny writes, you're not the only one. They act like Nikola Jokic is the entire NBA, him and Luka. Yeah, it just gets a little bit too much for me. But I'm like that though. You're like, I always have rooted for the underdogs. I've always rooted for the underdogs. During the Jordan years, at least that first 3 years, I was not a Jordan fan. I was rooting for other teams because everybody was like always riding them and riding them. I'm just like that. When he left and came back, I became more of a well, I'm a fan of no man except for my son, daughter, family, people around me. But I really began to appreciate what he brought to the table later on. You know, during the Laker years, listen, I was rooting for Larry Bird and them. That was just me at that point. So I always kind of root for the underdogs. I thought that Denver was going to win this series, so I was rooting for Minnesota. Just wanted to see some young bucks. That was it. So it'll be a lot of fun. Tanika writes, can you give a shout out to Jasmine Crockett? Yeah. Bleach blonde, bad built, butch body. For anybody that does like, I don't know, speeches or anything like that, you know, that is something that you can you can turn that into a tongue twister. Right. Bleach blonde, bad built, butch body. Say that 5 times real quick. Bleach blonde, bad built, butch. See, I can't do it. Yeah, I thought it was I don't mean I was mixed. I understand everybody's thinking it's funny, and that's great. It is hilarious. She made a moment. It's just it's just a commentary on the state of politics. Like, this is what they doing, but I have to put the blame where the blame belongs. I blame it on these MAGA elected officials. That's whom I blame. I blame them. You got these MAGA elected officials like Margie Taylor Greene that are coming from these heavily gerrymandered districts where a Democrat has no chance in hell, and it's a race to the right. How extreme can I be? You got a constituency, the Republican constituency, that's in an echo chamber. All they do is listen to Fox News and Newsmax and these heavily Republican biased conservative media channels, and it becomes a feeding frenzy. And so, in some ways, MGT Marjorie Taylor Greene is acting out the frustrations of her constituents. That's the way they want her to act. That's what they want for her. But it's sad because people be getting used and don't even realize it. And I see it in a lot of different ways. One way I see it was MAGA. You know, Fox News been feeding these people fear and lies for 2 decades, and they believe it to the point where they don't listen to anything else. So they're stuck in this media echo chamber, and the Republican Party is taking advantage of it. So, on one hand, I thought it was funny like everybody else. On the other side, I thought it was regrettable that these are the types of conversations that we're having. But I blame MAGA. I blame. That's who I blame. When I look at the clips on C-SPAN and I see who's having an adult conversation and which party is always on some dumb ish, usually it's the Republicans. And inside the Republican Party is usually MAGA Republicans that are clowns. They've turned the House of Representatives into a circus. And so now the Democrats are forced to respond. And it's sad. We are the constituents are losing. We are losing. We are losing. We're losing because we're not having the conversations that we deserve. We're not getting the conversations that we really deserve. Instead, we're getting a lot of BS. Hey guys, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. So we're not getting the kind of conversation that we really deserve because it's a clown show. It's a clown show. And I blame MAGA Republicans and these heavily Republican gerrymandered districts. Since you brought it up and I'm talking about it, MAGA is winning, by the way. MAGA is way out ahead of the black community. Let me be clear about that. To me, MAGA represents the most serious threat to pro black family and pro working class family policy that I've ever seen in my entire adult lifehood, in my entire lifetime. and they are way out ahead because MAGA knows who they are. MAGA understands what it is, and black folks are still trying to figure out whether they should vote or not. That's why I have no tolerance for black Republicans. I have no tolerance for agents that they try to put themselves, it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, but really they're trying to sow doubt inside the black community. I have no tolerance for it at all. I'm not playing no games with it. It's too serious. It's way too serious. MAGA is winning. Look at the Supreme Court. You got a Supreme Court justice. News just came out in the last couple of days, last week, that Samuel Alito, who's on the Supreme Court, supports the January 6th nonsense. He put out a flag on his lawn that basically was supporting the January 6th insurrectionists. This man is on Supreme Court. But most people don't understand is that Republican, we'll say conservative interests have been trying to remake the court for the last 30 years. I know it. You know it because you've been listening to this show. I've been talking about it for over a decade. What we see right now, that plan was put in place 25 years ago. MAGA is winning. They way out ahead of black folks. Black folks, when you look at the kind of conversations that black media is having, there's only one or two spaces in which they're having some serious conversations. You got people out here talking about, instead of talking about policy, they're talking about whether foundational black Americans created hip hop or not. Like Tariq Nasheed and his followers, you go to his YouTube page right now and just go back and look at the last month or two of the type of conversation he's having, and it's all dumb stuff. It's nothing real. Black people created hip hop, not Latinos. Who cares? Who cares? Why do I care about who created hip hop? They're trying to steal our identity. No, he's distracting you, bro, and you just don't know it. He's using emotion to distract people, right? The emotion that black people have been overlooked is a real thing. We know that that culture has been appropriated. So rather than talking about the real issues, they want to talk about somebody appropriating hip hop. And people be like really into it. God bless them. I don't have time for the nonsense. It's too many real serious things going on out here. Fat Joe said Latinos created hip hop. No, they didn't. I don't care. Just like with Cat Williams, who is just moderately funny, by the way. Stop it. Quit acting like he's some kind of great comedic genius. He's had maybe one special that was hot in the movies and Friday when he played the pimp. He has some moments in there. I am a boy, right? He has some moments in there. Quit acting like he's the greatest genius ever. That Club Shay Shay interview was I give a lot of props to Club Shay Shay. I mean, I was happy for Shannon Sharp. Like anybody in the digital media space is doing well. I'm happy for them. But people, I remember I wasn't like, doing a tap in or anything. People were like, this is the greatest interview ever. Cat Williams didn't say a damn thing in that interview that was worth even repeating. Why do I care about comics stealing jokes? Now, it was entertaining, it was funny, and we need that. We need to disengage sometime. But people out here acting like Cat Williams is some great truth teller. All I heard was a man talking ish about other men who was more successful than him, i.e. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's an industry plant. I don't care. So what? Steve Harvey stole some jokes. I don't care. So what? Why do I care about comics stealing jokes? But people thought he was the greatest truth teller. And all really what it is, it was just promotion for his upcoming Netflix special. That's all it was. He's a truth teller. Uh-huh. It's easy to tell the truth about people that can't get back at you. Please stop. But we so distracted. Again, I get it. We need the fun stuff. We need to mindlessly disengage. I don't want to take that away. We need that. And so that interview that Cat Williams did with Shannon Sharp served that purpose. But people are out here acting like he's some kind of prophet. Please stop. Knock it off. Kevin Hart is an industry plant. I've never seen anybody rise that fast. So he's more successful than you, and you hating on him. Basically. Basically. Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey don't never, he ain't funny. He's more successful than you. Cedric the Entertainer. Cedric he ain't even funny. He's more successful than you. I mean, these men took a different route and got to where they are. And Cat Williams took a route to get where he is. That should be good enough, man. So again, I'm just throwing that in. I've been waiting to say that for a minute. It had its moments. It was fun. We need to laugh. The world is so serious. Great. But for people looking at Cat Williams like he's some great truth teller, knock it off. Knock it off. Knock it off. TNT writes, it is social media that has people in their own echo chambers, and people are not turning into politics unless it's fake news. Oh, there's a lot of echo chambers, but I'm here to disrupt all echo chambers. I'm gonna cut through all of that nonsense. At least in my opinion. You might agree. We can agree to disagree. Leave it just like that. We can always agree to disagree. Hey, what's up, Cass? What's up, Callie? Oh man, all the people. I love it. Why is the media not talking about Project 2025? Good question, Callie. I want to say this again. MAGA is winning because MAGA is just the latest grassroots movement that the real scary people are using to advance their agenda. Before MAGA, what was it? It was a Tea Party. So you got to understand what you're looking at. And it's only a few, maybe one or two media platforms out there with black folks that's really explaining it to you and breaking it down for you. MAGA is just the latest, it's levels to this. MAGA is just the latest grassroots movement. And the real scary people that's really got the plans, they use these grassroots movements to push their agenda forward, like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just the latest useful puppet that the real scary people are going to use to advance their agenda. And that's the truth. And black people are not equipped. We are not ready. We are not organized. We are confused. We are chaotic. We too busy fighting with one another to really understand who the real enemy is. They got us thinking, you got the B1 community out here. Tariq Nasheed and these other cats, man. And again, I always respected Tariq Nasheed and still do on some levels in terms of his filmmaking. But when I stopped doing the show, I got a chance to really listen. And I didn't like what I saw at all. Not one bit. I told him as much on Twitter. It didn't go well. We'll leave it like that. It did not go well. And what I have to conclude is, hey, do your thing, bro. I'm going to do my thing. You do your thing, I'm going to do my thing. Simple as that. But you got the B1, that's the black first community. That's anything but B1 because they've been programmed to believe that their biggest enemy is Haitians. It's black immigrants. Well, I can't make that up. These mofos running around here thinking that black immigrants are your biggest enemy. Damn fools. But it's easier to trick a man than it is to convince a man that they've been tricked. So I understand that. People that's in these cults, that's in these echo chambers, you can't tell them nothing different. You can't pull them out. I understand MAGA and the connection to Trump more now than I ever have before. People are like, well, why do they follow this guy? He's obviously this. He's obviously not that. It's one simple word or one simple phrase. They like him. That's it. They like him. And from what I've seen, most humans, when they like somebody, they're more likely to sit back and watch that person do all kind of evil stuff. They know the stuff he's doing is wrong, but they like him. All Trump has to do is say a couple things that hit them the right way, and he'll talk about God, or he'll say a couple things. He knows how to, work the crowd. And because they like him, they roll with it. And that's the same with everything. It's the same thing with everything. When you like somebody, you're more likely to allow them, or not allow them, you're more likely to sit back and watch them do all kind of crazy stuff. But you like them. I'm not like that. If I like you, I'm more likely to say something to you. Like, hey, sis, that's wrong. Hey, bruh, that's wrong. And if you can't handle that, then we ain't gonna be friends no more. But I have a personal code of integrity that is more important to me than any relationship. Period. I I can tell you what I'm gonna do in any situation off the top because I have a code that I live by. Period. And that goes for my mama, my father, my grandparents, the people who raised me, and I love them. I was able to tell them what I thought about them. If I thought they were wrong, I told them. So why wouldn't I be able to do that with somebody else? Everybody's not built like that. And so it's the same thing with Trump. Some of these people watch Trump, they're like, oh man, well, I don't agree with that, but everything else he does, because they like him. It's real simple. Nat writes, Trump is a master of grievance politics. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes. Oh, everybody's out to get me. Nobody likes me. Oh, woe is me. Woe is me. Woe is me. Uh-huh. Well, who's the common denominator? Oh, these persecutions are the Democrats. The Democrats don't have nothing to do with these persecutions whatsoever. There's no evidence to suggest it at all. But because they like Trump, they want to believe it. When you like somebody and they say something, you want to believe it. At least most people do. I don't work like that. I got a brain that I don't turn off no matter what my association is with you. And if I like you, I'm more likely to pull you to the side and say something like, yo, bro, da 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 da, or hey, sis, da 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 da. If I don't care about you, I'm less likely to. I don't care about your consequences. That's just how I roll. But I'm not going to have somebody around me and I see them saying or doing something crazy and I like them and I'm not going to say something to you. Hey, I don't work that way. I don't work that way. And I never will. And I never have. TNT writes, MAGA is a cult. They are moving like a cult when nothing matters and there is no standard that is brainwashed behavior and people should be concerned. It's two things. One, people want to feel like they're a part of something. And two, they like Trump. He's entertaining. He's white. He's got money. You know, somebody show up like Trump and he's talking that talk and he's got money. And in our culture, I don't know where this comes from, but in our culture, it's like if somebody is wealthy, we automatically assume that they must be something because they're wealthy. He's got something I don't have. And so that plays into Trump's narrative even more. Happens every single day. Happens every single day. And it's going to continue to happen. I was just listening to an article on TV where it says that the center is rising in Washington. Kush is in the house. He writes, good morning, family. Get to the choppers. Hey, what's up, Kush? Hey, listen, man. Congrats to you and your family, man. Hey, I love this time of year. I love this time of year. I love when people, I not a thing, but I posted something. This is how I honestly feel. I feel like being connected to people on Facebook is a privilege. It is a privilege that I don't take lightly. Like somebody connecting with me on, especially on like a personal page, that is a privilege because people post a lot of their photographs of their family, and I respect that. And I love graduation season. I love seeing all those beautiful people smiling and people proud about their children and their grandsons and their relatives and people graduating. I love to see all the photographs about people graduating and then they post about what college they're going to or what business endeavor they're going into. I love it. I love to see older people, right? 40, 50, 60 going back to school, continuing their education. Man, I take a lot of energy from that. That is beautiful. I love it. So, for all the people I'm connected with on Facebook, thank you for that connection because I get to get on my timeline. And most of the time, my timeline is just ugly. It's just all the ugliness that's on social media and nonsense. But I get a chance during graduation season to see something that just enriches my soul. And I appreciate you for that. It's a relationship that I take very seriously. Not everybody does. Some people abuse that relationship, and as soon as I see that with me, I cut them off. I cut them off eventually, immediately. I don't play no games with it, and I ain't explaining nothing. Click, we unfriended, and you should do the same thing because I take that's a very valuable connection that people should take very, very seriously, and I do. So I just love this type of year, man, because the other months of the year is just nonsense, the politics, the chaos on social media. And so this time of year, you get a chance to really like, I don't know. I don't know. You get a chance to like peek into people's lives and see those good smiling faces. And then having raised a child through graduation, now in college, I understand the tremendous sacrifice involved with that. You know what I'm saying? College Buddha didn't do that by herself. That's what she says she wants to be called these days, College Buddha. She didn't do that by herself. Her mama, her father. We have a support system around us that have lifted her up. You know what I'm saying? When we put the word out there about college, people send her donations to help her. Every dollar mattered because we ain't got it like that. I ain't got no shame in my game. We ain't got it like that. So I understand the struggle, the hardship, and just how serious that is, man. You talk about a serious investment. Have a child, have a kid, have a child. That is the most serious investment you ever gonna make. It is super serious. But listen, that's my time. I really appreciate you. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll catch up real soon.